This is a new Logitech mouse that iterates on the Signature series, which is already one of the best value options across Logitech's whole lineup. It takes so many of the great things from those mice, improves on the overall design, and even adds a palm cushion on top. Now that last part is definitely their attention grabber for marketing purposes, but honestly, it's probably one of the more unnecessary parts of this whole package. Now, importantly, Logitech sent this mouse over to me as part of their new Signature Comfort Plus combo, but they've got no say in if or how I choose to cover it. I also decided to go the extra mile for you guys and bought this version with my own money. It's identical, but it does away with the palm cushion. If you wind up wanting either one of these, you can purchase using the affiliate links in the video description to help support the channel. And now, with all that out of the way, let's jump into the details. For the build and design, this new model takes all the same materials from the prior Signature series mice. On top, you'll find the same hard plastic that I think feels nice and high-end. Around the lower parts of the mouse is the same rubber material, all the way down to the ridges and the little bumps for grip. This rubber now runs all the way to the back of the mouse, rather than there being a piece of hard plastic there as well. Historically, I've had no real issues with these materials, but some people have reported problems with them either wearing out or staining in the case of the white rubber. So definitely keep that in mind before you purchase. It's definitely not as bad as what people have experienced with the MX Master 3 and 3S, but there's still some level of risk. Moving to the shape, this is really where we see the improvements over the old Signature mice. Instead of utilizing the symmetrical design that I described in my videos as ergonomic enough, though definitely not super comfortable, this is a proper contoured shape that supports your hand extremely well. The shape is a really good middle ground. If we think about a spectrum of how much different Logitech mice lean into ergonomics, this sits somewhere in between the MX Master and the M720 Triathlon. If you're looking to get into a more ergonomic mouse shape, this is a great place to start. It can definitely feel weird to jump straight to a vertical mouse like the Logitech Lift, but this will be familiar enough that you'll be off and running without too much of an adjustment period, but over time, you'll also wind up finding yourself not wanting to go back to a less ergonomic design. These new mice are called the M840L and M850L. That L designation typically refers to a large version of their mice, however, this is the only size available, at least at launch. For context, here it is compared to the large Signature M550L and to the regular-sized M650. The new mice are very similar in size to the larger Signature model. However, the sloped design makes it feel a little bit more natural in your hand, and as a result, to me at least, it feels less unwieldy, and I think it would be a little bit easier to use even if you have smaller hands. My hands are right in the medium territory for Logitech's sizing. Typically, the large models that they sell are recommended for medium to large sized hands. For me, I have found these new models to be very comfortable. In fact, the more time I spent with them, and then in particular when I tried them alongside a myriad of other Logitech mice, I genuinely think that this might be one of the most comfortable mice that they have made to date. For me, the MX Master 3 and 3S are still the gold standard. They fit my hand perfectly. The MX Master 4 is close, but the back of it sticks into my hand a little bit too much, which makes it slightly less comfortable. On the cheaper end of the spectrum, the Marathon and Triathlon mice are both super comfortable as well, and gave the MX Master feel for someone whose hand was a little bit on the smaller side in particular. This new model adds a little bit of extra length over the Marathon and Triathlon, but it doesn't have the extra height that you'll find on the MX Master. That combination lets my hand relax more without the mouse feeling quite as large and heavy as the MX Master does. It really feels solid, but you'll notice that one thing hasn't come up at all when I've talked about the shape and the feel, and that's the palm cushion. The palm cushion is a new innovation for Logitech. It adds a bit of padding right where your bottom knuckle typically makes contact with the mouse. It has what I can only describe as a plasticky fabric over the top, and beneath it is a bit of padding which compresses fairly easily, traveling down a millimeter or so before bottoming out with some more hard plastic. I love cool innovations like this. It's why I reviewed this weird padded mouse from Yunzi recently. Anything which makes your time spent in front of the computer just a little bit more comfortable is worth it in my book, especially with how painful it is to just exist in corporate America right now. So then the question is, does this cushion actually make the mouse more comfortable? Well, depending on your hand size and how you grip the mouse, I'd say it ranges from not at all to maybe a little. If you've got larger hands, you're not going to be able to fully rest your palm on a mouse like this, so you'll hover over the cushion and get nothing out of it. If you have a medium-sized hand, you still might hover and use your fingertips, or as I do personally, you might very lightly rest your hand on the mouse. In this case, you probably won't even notice that the pad is really there. When I switched between the padded and non-padded version in testing, I could hardly tell the difference without specifically seeking it out. The best chance of feeling like this cushion adds to your experience is if you have small to medium-sized hands and will be fully resting them on the mouse. In that case, you might find a little improvement having the cushion versus not. But even then, it still feels a little bit like a gimmick to me. Outside of traditional usefulness though, I do have one consideration about the cushion that's for it and one that's against it. For the positive, if you're the fidgety, anxious type, it can be nice to have something on your desk to play with. It's satisfying to press down, and it might calm your nerves a bit like a fidget spinner type of thing would do. On the flip side, the material on top of the cushion, as far as I know, is a new one for Logitech, at least on mice. Durability as a result is yet unproven. So getting the cushion does mean that you'll have an additional failure point in terms of material wear and tear. And although Logitech claims that they will replace these under warranty, I have to assume that they'll try to claim any damage is the result of normal wear and tear in as many instances as they can when someone's attempting to make a claim. I hope that I'm wrong about that fact, but time will tell. Moving over to buttons and wheels, the two main left and right clicks utilize Logitech's Quiet Clicks technology and sound great. And on the side, there are standard forward and back buttons. The scroll wheel is their smart wheel that automatically shifts between tactile line-by-line scrolling and a free spinning mode, depending on how quickly you turn it. Not everyone that I hear from loves this feature because there's no way to prevent it from free spinning if you want to go quick, but still have the tactile ratcheting feel. Personally, I love it though. There's obviously no side scroll wheel like you'd find on the high-end MX Master. However, you can hold either of the side buttons and use the regular scroll wheel to move horizontally across a page. This feature actually shows up in the Options Plus software, I think for the first time, which is great because it's more of a hidden feature in a lot of their previous mice, and it's something that not all competing mice will do, so it's cool to see them calling it out. The final button is on top and is a bonus button just behind the scroll wheel. Unfortunately, this button does nothing unless you install Logitech's Options Plus software. If you are willing and able to do that, then it defaults to opening the Actions ring, but it's also customizable with a lot of other features as well. This particular collection of buttons and wheels is identical to the signature M750, and it offers just about everything you could need. Now, let's hear what they all sound like. For connectivity, there's multi-device pairing for up to 3 devices, which is controlled by the only remaining button we haven't talked about, the easy switch button on the bottom of the mouse. So yes, the device changing button is on the bottom. There is a pretty strong contingent of people out there who point to Logitech's Triathlon mouse as the best around because it's the only mouse where Logitech chose to put the device switching button on the side. Unfortunately, despite the similar shape here, that unique feature was not carried over. However, if you're willing and able to install Logitech's Options Plus software, you can change devices using the bonus button on the top. You have to set it to use the Actions ring and then customize the Actions ring to include multi-device changes, but then And only then, it is possible to change your device without having to pick up the mouse. Definitely not as quick as if the button could simply cycle through your connections, but it's something. Another important note is that although the primary way you'll connect this mouse is via Bluetooth, it is compatible with the Logibolt USB receiver. However, it does not include one in the normal retail packaging. If you want to get one with your mouse, you have to buy a for business version, which includes the receiver and costs $10 more. Regardless of your model, the mouse works with Mac, Windows, Linux, and mobile operating systems. It runs on a standard 125 Hz polling rate on Bluetooth or Logibolt. The Logibolt receiver actually uses Bluetooth Low Energy as its connection method, which is rather interesting. Finally, the sensor on board is a basic optical sensor, which goes from 400 to 4000 dpi in increments of 100. And for battery, this mouse runs on a single AA battery, which lasts for up to 2 years. For customization, this mouse works with Logitech's Options Plus software. Importantly though, this does require you to download it onto your machine, which is often a bit of a problem for people who want to use these mice for work with a corporate issued computer. If you can install it, the software is solid. It allows you to customize your bonus button on top, plus you can make changes to your side buttons or the middle click if you wish as well. You can also adjust your pointer speed, which is your DPI adjustment, and your scrolling speed as well. Finally, you can enable more advanced features like Logitech Flow to automatically move across multiple computers as well. The real bummer on this mouse specifically is that if you can't install that software, the bonus button on top just won't be able to do anything at all, which really does suck. For pricing, this mouse starts at $40 for the non-padded version, known as the Signature Comfort M840L. The upgraded M850L with that palm cushion is $50. And the for business version that we referenced is only available in the padded version. It sells for $60 and includes the Logibolt receiver. In terms of value, I think that this is exceptional. I'd probably opt for the non-padded version in most scenarios, especially if you are worried about potential wear and tear on the materials. For a point of comparison, the former top-of-the-line Signature Series mouse, the M750, sells for $50. It does include a Logibolt receiver. This new version matches it feature for feature. It's more ergonomic, and assuming that you don't really care about that USB receiver, it sells for $10 less. That is basically a no-brainer. To recap, as we always do, the differentiators and deal breakers, the positives include the new ergonomic shape, which is definitely one of the most comfortable Logitech mice ever made, though surprisingly not because of the new palm cushion. It has the same solid materials as the older Signature Series mice, which I've always really liked. It has quiet main clicks and a smart wheel, plus that bonus button on top. There's multi-device pairing and long battery life. And finally, pricing is a solid value at $40 to $60 depending on the version. For potential deal breakers, the mouse is only available in a large size, at least at the time of writing. There's a few concerns around durability. There's more rubber than before, which could exacerbate those previous issues that people have run into. Plus, the new palm cushion material brings in an additional material that could have problems down the road. Finally, the customization software must be downloaded and is required in order for that bonus button to function. Overall, this product represents one of the best values across Logitech's entire lineup. It's probably going to become my new default recommendation for anyone who doesn't want to spend the extra money to get the MX Master and who doesn't need something super small and portable specifically for travel. Let me know if you feel the same way in the comments. Remember that there are affiliate links in the video description if you'd like to pick one of these up, and if you enjoyed the video, how about clicking that subscribe button? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.